Right. Click the links to John channel, become a member here over at Subscribe. So I got a mailbox. Someone mail me some comics or cool pocket knives or whatever. So just chilling on YouTube. That's the only point of having a small YouTube channel, is to beg for free stuff. I have no shame in that. So this headline kind of sums it up, and you think, wait, these are professional people being paid millions of dollars a year? Well, they're being paid millions of dollars a year, but as to how professional they are, facts not in evidence. So HBO bosses, probably their decisions help shaped, and I don't hesitate to defame them here, but I think I'm judgment proof, shaped by just mountains of pharmaceutical assistants, where they do those things and they think, this sounds like a great idea. We'll have a troll army to go after critics of our crappy show. Like, chop another line and come up with more ideas. So the HBO bosses use secret fake accounts to troll TV critics. Just as weird as that sounds. So Casey Bloys ordered staffers to create fake accounts to attack critics, according to text conversations reviewed by Rolling Stones as part of their new lawsuit. I don't know why it was relevant to the lawsuit, but whatever, it came out in the wash, and it's kind of funny. And you're probably wondering, well, why don't you guys just make better shows so you don't have to have a troll army to attack critics? Well, because they can't. Their whole goal is to make crap and then insult you for saying it's crap. And there's a weird thing going around on the Disney Star Wars, where the kids, they know that Disney Star Wars is propaganda. So there's these tweets going around like, if you're not an istophobe a Star Wars fan, then jump in on this tweet thread. And they're trying to say that if you don't like the Disney trilogy, which sucks, or the Disney streaming shows, which also suck, then somehow you're istophobic. And you go, well, how does that follow? Well, their argument is as such because they know that those shows are nothing more than propaganda pushing a narrative. And they suspect that if you're not on board this pushing a narrative, then you're istophobic. You go, well, what if they just don't like the merits of the show? Well, that doesn't really matter to them, because the merits of the show aren't why they make shows anymore. It's why they got so angry at Zach making fun of their stupid comics, because the comics weren't comics anymore. They haven't been comics or movies in a few years. They're just pushing this left-wing narrative where everything is diverse, inclusive, and compassion and kindness type of nonsense. And they're probably right. If you're not on board with that, it's like they label you as istophobic. It's like, what does that word mean? It just means that you're the enemy, and they're labeling you as such so they can dehumanize and degrade you, as this guy is doing by attacking critics of his stupid shows, where they're trying to normalize ad hominems attacking people for their for criticizing the merits of the show. Kind of a creepy, and the thing is, even in his apology, which I'll read in its entirety because it's so manipulative, he does a lot of these psychological tricks where he introduces a concept and says, I know you guys are this concept, and then he's saying that if you don't accept his apology and agree with him, then you're not kind and generous. And I'll read his apology. It's kind of like executive manipulation, alpha male course training 101. And like, people on the left do it, people on the right do it too. Trump is kind of one of those guys. They do these little things with like the handshake and pull you into the handshake and just chicken shit little tricks, and you look at them and like, why are you doing this? This kind of, like, if you call them out on, look them in the eye and call them out on the kind of stuff, it's kind of fun to see them like, oh yeah, like, I guess I did take that alpha male executive course. And the thing is, a lot of this stuff where these people act like these kind of corporate parasites is only possible in a very high ordered society where there's a lot of rules and structure imposed from the outside, where if there's like a wolf pack situation, even with humans, like, those people just would have been course corrected by other people in the pack. But because we live in a society, they can't be course corrected because they have the law, and they manipulate social media to be on their side. So these parasites get stronger and stronger. And like I said, it's on the right as well as the left. And like, it would behoove us to call out these parasites in this kind of manipulative behavior. So he admitted and apologized for using a troll army, coordinated with employees to attack critics. And some of his tweets included this anti-white racism, which tells you a lot about HBO and Warner Brothers and who's pulling the strings over there, that they find that acceptable. So you're expecting professional adults to behave like professional adults, and you realize that these globalist purveyors of propaganda are deeply broken, disturbed people who hate the audience, that these are the people who help control the narrative, and they act like children in adult bodies. So he admits to it. He admits to getting caught, and that's the only thing he cares about. Where he coordinated with employees, Caffrey and Tamori, to target critics of HBO what they called it is a secret troll army. They'd cook up a response to critics, and honestly, the response is just really weak sauce, and pass them along to the employees who'd use fake accounts to respond to these various critics instead of just, discussing the merits of the show. They used ad hominems against the critics, which were pretty pathetic. They also attempted to weaponize identity politics to target many of the critics, and one of the things, the critic has a critique, Sternberg, about one of the stupid shows. Don't get your panties in a bunch. The show just started. That's pretty pathetic. I mean, that's like what these people come up with. He says he's terminally online, but I guess he's kind of a soy boy if this is the insult he comes up with. And the other insult from this fake, name and a bunch of numbers troll army is, how shocking that two middle-aged white men, you and Hale in parentheses, but missing a comma, I think, are pooping on a show about women. Yeah, I mean, even the whole, it's like you can tell these I don't know what you want to call them, controlled ops, like glow ops, where like false flags type of stuff, this kind of stuff, because it's just not authentic. This just isn't how people talk, but this is how a cocaine abusing CEO thinks people talk, or his employees who are video game playing, basement dwelling, super wealthy, but also like they never got out of their nerd phase. That's how they think people talk, and they can't really be edgy because they don't want to they're scared. So the most they can do is attack white men, because that's the only safe angle to attack, but also tells you something about them. So the report came about following a lawsuit that was filed by Tamori that accuses HBO of harassing him after he disclosed the mental health diagnosis. So you got mental health issues, and you're trolling people on Twitter because this pharmaceutical abusing CEO told you to do so, and you acquiesced to his sick, twisted demands. So he's kind of taking advantage of someone who's got mental health issues, and then he used that against you, and it's all coming out in some kind of court case. What a sick industry. Yeah, no shit. So in the lawsuit, he alleged he had to create these fake online accounts to respond to critics instead of just making better shows. Of the shows, I guess they got some critical negative reviews. The Nevers, Mayor of Easttown, and Perry Mason. I've never seen any of those shows. I can't imagine voluntarily watching any streaming show whatsoever. The only thing I'm going to watch in the future will be The Marvels, November 10th. Somebody said they're going to buy me the ticket for that, so I guess I'll go see that. And then the Avengers allegedly is trying to get Disney back on track with another Avengers movie, which is weird because half the characters are supposedly snapped out of existence. So how you do that, and I don't know. Anyway, so he admitted that he did indeed do a mountain of cocaine and get his troll army, and a Variety article reports. So he does this weird non-apology, and this is where he does the manipulation if you're listening closely. For those of you who know me, you know that I'm a programming executive, passionate about the shows. He includes 2 varies, which you're not supposed to do, that we decide to do, and the people who do them, the people who work on them. Okay, that's word salad. You didn't say anything. I want the shows to be great. I want people to love them. I want you all to love them. It's very important to me that you think of all the shows. Well, it's 4 varies. And again, you didn't say anything. When you think about them, and this sounds like Kamala Harris. Okay, so I'm working from home and doing an unhealthy amount of scrolling through Twitter. So now you're externalizing the blame away from your own behavior onto this inanimate object, Twitter. And I come up with a very, so what are we up to, like 5 or 6 varies? Dumb idea to vent my frustration. You're not supposed to use that vary modifier. It's just unnecessary. Obviously, these tweets were not very effective. 7 varies. I do apologize to people who were mentioned in the emails, but you didn't name them or apologize to them directly. Maybe you do it later. Obviously, nobody wants to be part of my pathetic cocaine addiction, and that have nothing to do with them. As you know, I've progressed over the past couple of years to using DMs, so now I take issue with something to review. Okay, so here's where the manipulation comes in. If you look at the word choice he uses, and he puts the onus on you. Or take issue with something I see. Many of you are gracious, keyword, enough to engage with me in a back and forth, and I think that's probably a much healthier way, keyword, to go about this. What that does is gracious and healthier. And he's saying it's on you. What he's doing is manipulating you, where if you don't forgive him, you don't agree with him, then you are not gracious or healthy in his non-apology word salad, where he didn't apologize and he didn't really name anyone. Taking advantage of somebody who admitted to having mental health issues to attack a critic of his stupid show. I mean, this is like narcissist borderline personality behavior, which is a lot of these execs have this kind of really, really driven, mainlining Adderall all day. And they're really metastable users and abusers type of people. And, the people who work for them or with them, they're getting paid so much that it's worth it for them to put up with this. But, to the extent that your mental health might come into play, and you gotta look at that carefully. Anyway, so that's his exact 101, how to manipulate people, because it's like he read all, I don't know, these executive books, and he didn't realize that, like, don't deal with a-holes. He's the a-hole in the room, but as long as he's productive, he's still going to be there, which is why this isn't really an issue. I don't know how productive HBO is, where if you have to attack critics, it's probably not as strong as it seems. So what do you make of Bloys' confession and apology? Okay, I'm guessing that there's a mountain of pharmaceuticals involved in this. That's what I make of this, and it's pretty pathetic that HBO has to attack critics and then admit to it because of trial transcripts or a deposition or something, and then give a non-apology. But for the life of me, I couldn't imagine watching Amazon, HBO. I couldn't imagine watching any streaming show whatsoever. The only movie that I'm going to see, and I'm not even looking forward to it unless it's so bad it's good, which I think it'll just be bad, is The Marvels with Brie Larson in a week. That's about it, really. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys all next episode.